dark? Are you scared? I am you.
Today, in Hauntly we start off on a different note. We bring a segment of Hauntedly Yours. A first-hand story of one of the most haunted places in India, the story of the Bhangar fort. If you are a lover of the haunted, this place is a must-visit in India. So, turn off your lights and sit back, for this story is going to haunt you for days. A story is as good as its teller. This story is what I have put together of a distant friend of mine in India. He has been following our channel for many days and recently shared his own experience with us. The following is his own rendition of the story.
Hello, I am. Well, let's keep that a secret. I am who I am. But that doesn't change the story that I'm going to put through. I am a normal man. I run a business and well settled with what I have. But from a tender age, I was taken into the age-old practice of Tantra. Thus I have powers which differentiates me from a common man. I see things which an ordinary set of eyes can't. I traveled many places, many of them haunted, but experiences in the Bhangar are something I would remember for a long time. The Bhangar fort stands for more than 1,000 years. It once had one of the most riches in the state. But all of that disappeared in a flick of an eye, because of a deadly curse. The state of Bhangar was under the reign of Madho Singh I. He had 3 queens and it was youngest one for whom everything started. Rumor has that the youngest queen had an affair with a tantric, a state priest, and both of them had decided to flee. When the king came to know of this, he sent for the queen and the tantric. He sentenced the tantric for life sentence, and it was then that the tantric put the curse by spreading a white powder. The whole fort had disappeared in a minute when the bombs at the king's armor started to burst, spreading the fire and the poison in the air, washing off the entire population. Now it is illegal to stay in the Bhangar after 5 in the evening. We reached the place with a couple of locals who would guide us through the fort at around 1 in the afternoon. Evidently, on entering the fort I got to smell something which only I can from my powers. I startled on entering further when I saw the spirits. There were a bundle of them. I would skip the story forward and move to the place where I first experienced the real paranormal, a claustrophobia in the true sense. We were roaming in the fort when we saw 2 shadows on one of the walls. We immediately spread in order to find the source. We couldn't find anyone, but the shadows remained. It was from that particular instant that I started feeling uncomfortable and a little claustrophobic. It was as if someone was constantly pushing me. I could not stand there and rushed into the open. Given the powers that I had, I could pretty well understand that the entity didn't want me there, that he was angry and trying to push me out. My discomfort increased when I entered the tantric's house. There is a round place in the middle of the room where the tantric used to perform his rituals. Previously, it was me who had the claustrophobia, but now everyone did. We were literally pushed out of the hut and one of my friend had actually fainted. I knew it was me who was responsible for all this fate. For the tantric didn't want me there. He would do anything to get me out. He didn't like the fact that we were investigating the place. Even today whenever I narrate this story, I get chills. This happened during the closing hours, and given my experiences I say that anything could have happened to us that day. There are some places of the fort which are not open to the general public. But still we explored, and they were the places of maximum activity. The court, for instance, was a place where you would find a white spot on the ground. Over the years, many friends have asked me whether the curse and the series of deaths are only responsible for what the place is today. Well, this is my speculation in connection to the folklore that the locals say. The king had 3 queens, out of which the midwife was the most commanding. Locals say that it was her character that would often order the king on his daily chores. But she met a sad demise just a few years before the whole curse thing, when she was killed on account of having 2 girls, which was then considered a taboo. My speculation is that it's her spirit that opposes the cursed. Spirit is very strong, for she didn't die in the curse. There is a particular place where the midwife is said to have been killed along with her 2 girls. When we moved there to investigate, I found her spirit particularly very active. Over the years, many deaths have occurred in that region, but there are particularly 2 instances which have gained importance. Many security guards in the fort have died unexplained deaths. But there was this one guy who died in a peculiar way. Locals say that this guy was on night duty, and out of curiosity he entered the fort and explored the fort all by himself. He came back safely, but the next day when he tried to share his nocturnal experience to an accomplice of his, a cerebral attack came upon him and he died instantly. Locals guess that he probably saw something the spirits didn't want the world to know. Another death is of a 21-year-old girl who started roaming all by her own. She went missing in the daylight, and within a few hours her body was recovered from the highest point of the fort. Post-mortem relieved that she was hit on the back of her head and was dragged up the stairs until she met her end. Blood stains were recovered on the stairs, which added to the mystery, but no footprints. I don't know how to end the story, for there is a lot to say. The place really speaks to me, every corner of it. We were dragged, pushed out of the tantric's house, heard footsteps, claustrophobia, nausea, everything. For years I held myself responsible for the fainting of my friend near the tantric's house, or the scratches that another one bore near the midwife's castle. I don't carry those scientific devices, for my powers are enough, but in this case I say I was humiliated, rather my powers were. I end here today, but I tell you there is a lot to say, a lot.
Saying this, the man just walked out of my room for the night. He was exhausted and went off to sleep. I had previously heard many stories and legends of the place, but this particular rendition appealed to me a lot. Our segment of Hauntedly Yours couldn't have started on a better note than this. So guys, comment your views and share your experiences on Hauntedly Yours. For we take the onus to reach them to the world, like we just did. Keep in touch until the next time we bring another story.